Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to this video titled Points on a Coordinate Plane, and you can see the objectives for lesson 9.1 is to name and locate points on a coordinate plane and also draw and identify polygons on a coordinate plane. Now what I would like for you to do is get out your Math and Focus book and turn to page 115, and we're going to go over a few parts of a coordinate plane. So let's turn to 115 and get out your pencil and also your math journal if you'd like to take notes. So we're going to look at a few different parts of a coordinate plane. So what you can see right now on the screen and also on page 115 is a coordinate plane. Now this may look a little bit different from the coordinate planes that you have seen in elementary school. So you can see we have negative and positive numbers, and also we have going from left to right, and also vertically we have positive and negative numbers as well. Now if you flip over to page 116, you can see even a little bit more of a detailed coordinate plane, and you can see that there are quadrants. Okay, so we can see quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, so we could see that point A is in quadrant 1, point B, quadrant 2. So G is lying along the x-axis, and that would be between quadrants 2 and 3. Point C is in quadrant 3. Point D is in quadrant 4. And then E, once again on the x-axis, is lying in between quadrants 1 and 4 there. So quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see it's going from the right to the left and down. We could even say counterclockwise here as far as the quadrants go. Now, those are the quadrants, and there's also, as probably many of you know, there is an x-axis and a y-axis. So the x-axis runs horizontally. So we can see the x-axis is right here. Okay, and then the y-axis runs vertically, just like this. Okay, so x-axis and y-axis right there. Now, why does that make a difference? So you have an ordered pair, for example. So let's say I have an ordered pair of 5, -1. So what does that mean? The 5 represents the x-axis, -1 represents the y-axis. So the first number in an ordered pair represents how far to the left or to the right you go when you're plotting your point. So this says +5. So what that means is I go +5 first, and then I go down 1, -1, just like that. Okay, so that's how I would plot a point on a coordinate grid. Now let's say, for example, I had 3, +3. What I do with this is I start at the 0, I go over 3 on my x, and then I go up 3 on my y-axis. I could plot my point just like that. So that is 0.3, 3. Now let's say, for example, I have negative numbers, -4, -2, for example. What I would do, I look at my first number. That's how far it's either to the left or right I go on my x-axis, so that's -4. I go to my -4, and then I go down 2, and I would plot my point just like this on my coordinate grid. You could see on my coordinate planes, you can see with that point, I end up in quadrant 3. Now, whenever you're trying to find a point on a coordinate grid, so what you can do, let's say I'm trying to find point D on the coordinate grid and trying to represent what it looks like as an ordered pair. Understand, an ordered pair does need to have parentheses around it. First of all, we need to see what number point D aligns with on the x-axis. So we can see that it's right aligned with 2. So I write 2 there, I put a comma. And then on the y-axis, -3. So letter D represents 0.2, -3. Now let's say we're taking a look at letter C. Again, we have parentheses there. We figure out what number aligns with on the left on my x-axis. That'll be my first number. You can see it's -2. So it's going to be -2. And then on the y-axis, right aligns with -3. So point -2, -3. Now let's take a look at letter B. Once again, we got to figure out where it aligns on the x-axis. So it aligns with -2. On the y-axis, +3. So -2, +3 on my coordinate plane. Now, let's take a look at letter E. So that's a little bit different there, right? So we can see what number does it align with on my x-axis. Okay, you can see that is, so that is +5 on my x. And what number does it align with on my y-axis? It does not go either up or down, so that would be 0 on my x-axis. So 5 on my y-axis, 0.50. Now let me show you what that would look like on the y-axis. So let's take a look at this point right here. First of all, you got to figure out what number it aligns with on my x-axis. You can see right here, it's 0, because it does not go to the left or the right, just like 0 for my y-axis when it does not move up or down. However, it does move up. We can see it aligns right with the 5 on my y-axis there. So the goal for this video is just to give you a little bit of a background about a coordinate plane. If you have any questions about any of these concepts, please come and see me.